crystal to the every Monday, and then you'll know. J to the crystal to the guess every way, talk about everything. J to the crystal to the J to the crystal to the J to the crystal to the tune in to the best drunk talk show. J to the crystal to the every Monday, and then you'll know. J to the crystal, don't guess every way, talk about everything. Tune in to the best drunk talk show. Crystal to the every Monday, and then you'll know.
What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Crystal J, and I'm back. But today we're talking about a very serious topic, and I'm not sure if you guys know, it is domestic um, violence awareness month. And this month we're going to, I don't want to trigger nobody during this conversation because it's a very needed topic. And today I'm interviewing a survivor, somebody who's ready to tell her story. And I want you guys to respect my guests. Please share this video and welcome, roommates, to another great topic. And I know I normally go live on Mondays, but this is a special episode. So I hope you guys are ready to have and dive into this conversation. Hi, girl. Thank you so much for being here. And before we start, thank you for willing to share your story, because I know this is going to be a hard topic to discuss because we are talking about domestic violence. And I'm hoping that somebody who is going through the situation will tune in and get out. Um, so I want to start off by asking about yourself.
Well,
Did you hear what I said? I'm
hey,
sorry. I think I
Chris.
went out. So, can is my internet going out?
Yeah,
Did it
you're
go out?
cutting in and out, girl. Yeah, you went in and out for a second.
That's what I figured. So I'm gonna read. So you guys, welcome to technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. You guys, we can tell you that for Monday, but you know what? We're gonna get into this episode today. I'm interviewing the domestic violence a survivor, somebody who survived a trauma. Now you're looking at the title like a fairy tale with a twist of domestic violence. So today, this topic may be triggering. So it's okay to come back and rewatch it and take breaks, because I know this topic is going to be heavy. And this whole month, I'm going to be talking about breast cancer and domestic violence. But this month, we're talking about domestic. This month, we're talking about domestic violence because it is the month to celebrate awareness for it and hopefully to save somebody. So, Miss Kim.
Hey there. So you just cut out again, so I can't hear you if you're speaking. But I'm really happy to have you to be here,
No, you can
Crystal.
talk. No, you
Okay,
can talk. Go
cool.
ahead.
Yeah. So hi, my name's Karen Hewitt, and Crystal asked me to be here to tell my story. And like she said, it can be triggering, it can be upsetting, and I completely understand if someone finds it hard or tough to listen to the things that I have to tell you about what I went through. But the reason I share it is because if one person hears it and goes, oh my gosh, I need to get out, then they can get out. And it gives them some hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel. First, you may notice I have an accent. I'm from England and I moved to Arizona. And I actually moved to Arizona to be with my spouse. I wasn't married to him, but he kind of just told fairy tale, whipped me off my feet. Everything was perfect. I came for a visit. We had 3 months together. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I'm talking opening car doors. I am talking pulling chairs out. I'm talking flowers, teddy bears, chocolates, necklaces, complete. And it's called love bombing. And I want to tell you, this is an actual thing. It's called love bombing, and it's what a lot of people do in the domestic violence world is they love bomb someone, and it really brings up that oxytocin and all those like feel good hormones and makes you feel all special and squishy and warm and happy. And he did this for 3 months, and I went back to England, And the entire time I was back in England, he was like, I miss you. I love you. I wish I'd told you I loved you while you were here. You're my world. You're my everything. And with that, we started to plan our life together across the sea using AOL chat. This is how long ago it was. Oh my gosh, I just made myself seem so old. And this is what most people don't understand, that when you're in a domestic violence relationship, it doesn't start on day one. Day one's beautiful. Day one's a fairy tale. Day 100 is a fairy tale. For me, day 365 was still a fairy tale. He was a Southern gentleman. He was from South Carolina. He always wore his jeans and his cowboy hat. He did everything he was supposed to do. And if you asked any of my friends, they would tell me things like, you are so lucky that you have him. Oh my gosh, he brought you lunch again? You are so lucky. Oh, look, if someone's here to see you, he just decided to surprise you at flowers when I was at work. All these different things. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're lucky. He's amazing. He's fantastic. He did every sweet thing you can imagine. Flower, like I said, flowers a lot, meals, opening car doors. I was never allowed to open a car door. He always had to open it for me. He always made sure he opened the door, pulled my seat out, was very respectful. And it was, I've seen it like kind of in movies, the whole Hollywood, the Southern charm, like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, ma'am, thank you, sir. That was him the whole time. And we were married. We had a really nice wedding. Everything, my family flew over, beautiful. I got a job, went to work, was working back and forth, got my driver's license. So he no longer had to take me to work. I could drive myself. I had my English driver's license, but I wanted to get my American one before I drove on the streets. And that is when it changed. I was working retail and I came home late. Now, when I say late, you think, oh my gosh, how late were you? Like an hour? I was literally like 7 minutes late. 7 minutes. And it was because a whole bunch of red lights, didn't get out of work on time, like got out of work like 2 minutes late. The elevator, had to wait for the elevator, had read every single thing that could have made me a little bit later, made me a little later. I walked into the door of our house and he slapped me so hard across my face that I think I just stood there and looked at him.
So my question, Karen,
Yeah.
was when he first hit you, how did you feel?
I was shocked. I never expected it. It was just like, what just happened? Why? And he then went into this whole thing about how sorry he was. He didn't mean it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll never happen again. And he also then told me about how his father was abusive, a conversation that we'd never had before. And he needed my help to make sure he didn't turn into his father.
So I do know he love bombed you.
Oh, God, yes.
Like I do notice that is a thing with domestic violence individuals. I'm not gonna say men because women do it. Women beat on men too. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's something that most people don't talk about. And they so when he hit you, you was shocked. Why did you not leave him when he first put his hand on you?
Because I'd had over a year of nothing but what was considered the perfect marriage. Everything was taken care of. He made sure that, I got everything I needed. He was sweet. He was kind. My friends adored him. And then he was so apologetic. He was crying. He was beside himself. He was begging for my help in becoming a better person. And he went straight away, started making dinner, ran me a bath. Again, the love bombing started all over again with him telling me how it would never, ever happen again.
Okay.
And if I'd only been on time, and the other thing was because I was a little late, he was so worried about me. He was scared something had happened to me. I'd been in an accident. I was dead. All these things had caused him to stress out. And that's one of the reasons he reacted that way. Because he was stressed, he was anxious, he was worried. and that I appeared to not care that I was late. But in my head, I was only a few minutes late. I was like, oh my gosh, traffic was bad. That wasn't enough for him to say that traffic was bad because I was late and I didn't let him know.
That wasn't enough for him.
That wasn't enough. And that for the next several months, I thought he was being really nice to me. And again, still thought it was love bombing. But what I realize now, looking back, this is something I call positive control. And he was probably doing it to me from day one, but I noticed it more in the next several months. Is he would say things to me like, oh my God, oh, like, Crystal, I love that pink shirt on you. You look so cute in pink. I just adore it. And it makes you feel good when someone gives you a compliment, right? So the next week we'd go out for a dinner date, which we did every week. And I put a blue shirt.
You guys, are we going in and out to the people watching? Because I'm not sure. And this conversation is extremely important. And I'm not sure if we're going in and out. I'm not sure if we need to leave the studio and come back. Roommates, can you give me a thumbs up if it's going good? Because I'm not sure. And I'm gonna wait until one of my roommates. On my end, I could see people watching.
Okay, cool.
So I'm trying to. Okay. Because I know for me, he was going out, but I'm thinking it's my internet.
Yeah.
Okay. You know you're in.
Yeah. See, I'm getting you going in and out a little bit, Crystal.
So I'm okay. So we're about to cut to commercial break, everyone. And I'm gonna leave the studio and come back. So this is what we're gonna do, you guys. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna go to a song to give me a full break because I need to fit something on my end. So and Miss Karen, you can leave the studio too and come back.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a song.
Will do.
So you guys, we about to go.
Don't worry.
We about to go to commercial break. And today feature artist she's not really a feature artist. Her name is Camilla. And this is our break. I'll be back.
I got 20 bitches, bitch, I'm up next. Ain't no stopping me when I pop my shit. These hoes wanna copy me. Trendsetter, big festa. Ain't no stopping me. Go get her, I'm better. Grinding heavily. I'ma pop my shit while I had my bitch. Pop out on the beach, pop out on the beach. Cause I'm a boss, bitch. I stayed 10 toes when my back was against the wall, bitch. I never fold. I stack my money up, bitch. I don't play around. Pop out and show my ass. Real savage running town. Ain't nothing like this right here. A Leo, 1 in a million. Blend in, real comedian. Running through them bitches. Yeah, I'm in it just to win. The bitch coming back and she get it in. Come here, say my name, bitch. You know I'm hard as fuck. When I get on the track, bitch, you know I fuck it up. Yeah, you know I fuck it up. I'm fucking on your nigga, and he like the way it's up. Grind it out motion daily. Bitch, I'm about my business. Beating feet hit the pavement. I got 20 bitches. Bitch, I'm up next. Ain't no stopping me when I pop my shit. These hoes wanna copy me. Trendsetter, big festa. Ain't no stopping me. Go get her, I'm better. Grinding heavily. I'ma pop my shit while I handle my business. Pop out on the beach. Pop out on the beach.
All right, you guys, we're back. We was having some technical difficulties, but it's okay. Carmia kept you guys trend setting. I want to take time to apologize because this is technology. So unfortunately, I cannot dictate it. But what I can dictate is this interview that need to be had. Okay. So I'm gonna get right back to it. And like Mia said, we're trendsetters. We're going to talk about this topic because it needs to be talked about. It's not I want to talk about it. Because to be honest with my audience, it's very triggering for me to talk about these topics that people really don't talk about. Believe it or not. So it's 7 minutes late from coming to work, from coming to work. And he, when you got there, he slapped you. And he said your initial shock, you was initially shocked. So, and he
Mhm.
started back love bombing you. So he didn't do it right away. And then the last thing you said was he was controlling you in a positive way. So
Yeah.
let's get back to that part of the conversation.
Yeah. So it's like he'd tell me like I'd look really cute in an outfit, and then a week later, if I wore a different outfit, he'd be like, "Oh, but why don't you just go put that pink shirt back on? You look so good in that pink shirt." So he wasn't telling me I looked bad in the outfit I was wearing, but he was telling me I looked better in the other way. And within another 6 months, he had me dressing how he wanted, wearing my makeup how he wanted, my hair how he wanted, cooking the meals he wanted, because he would do it. Oh, last Tuesday you made these pork chops and they were so good. Can't you make those again? Oh, I really love it when you have your hair up in a ponytail. Can you not just go put your hair up? You look so good with your hair. And he was doing that for several months. And of course, you want to make people happy. And when someone's telling you you look good, you did something good, you like, oh yeah, I want to be that good girl. I want to be that good girl. And you're like little puppy, like, oh my gosh, yay. And he was doing that. And then about 6-7 months after that, I mean, he didn't put another hand on me in that 6-7 months. He just did that. He then started to change his tone, like, oh my God, I thought I told you to get rid of that dress. You look so fat and ugly in that dress. Whereas before he'd be like, oh, why don't you just go put that other one back on? You look so nice in the other one. And it became to be very demeaning. And it was like, but I already told you. I just want the best for you. I don't want you to look horrible. I don't want you to act wrong. I don't want, and in a way, in my head, he told me so many things I'd done right. I didn't want to disappoint him. And doing these other things disappointed him. And I knew he was only out for my best interest, or rather, I thought he was only out for my best interest at the time. So he started to get more and more controlling in that way.
I was just about to ask you that. So it seems like to me he was getting more controlling, but he was being smart about it. So do you
Yeah.
feel that you was the first woman that he allegedly beat on?
I have no idea. He never told me about any exes. I never got that. My ex's crazy story, like a lot of them get. A lot of people have been in domestic violence. You hear about how crazy their ex is, how insane they were, and all this kind of stuff. I never got that. I never got any of that from anyone. He always used to tell me, oh, my exes, I'm just going to leave my exes in the past. You're mine now. You're my future. I don't need to focus on them.
So if somebody's watching this right now, what are some signs before they get into the beating on you? What are some signs that women or men can look out for from your personal experience?
From my personal experience, if you think they're being too good to be true, be careful of it. Like if you can never do any wrong and they always like over the top trying to make you bet, do things for you, or they're extremely over the top in front of other people. He was this perfect, friendly, charismatic gentleman as soon as we stepped outside the house. And he made everyone think how wonderful he was. That over the top, but when it doesn't quite just at home, he got a bit more quiet, a little bit more into himself. Oh no, I just want to watch TV. I just want to be quiet. I just want to sit here. I just want a beer. And it was like he had two personalities. The personality when we were out with our friends, which made him out to be this amazing individual. He was very proud of his military service and people recognized him because he was ex-military. He was very big on all the things he tried to do to help people. Like he volunteered at places. He was this, if you outside looking in, he was this overly perfect fairy tale person. Now, I'm not saying they're not out there. Some people are fairy tales. Some people are amazing. But if they are too good to be true, there's a chance they are actually being, then it's not true. Another thing is if they start telling you what to do
It's
with this,
always red flags. We just missing them.
yeah, if they start telling you what to wear, what to eat, how to wear your hair, how to wear your makeup, how to dress, how to speak to people. Or the other one he did with me was I was in retail. I was in a technology retail. I was Radio Shack. If you remember that, oh my gosh, it's like so old. They've gone away now. But a lot of my co-workers were men. A lot of them. And, oh, I don't like how he's looking at you. I don't think you should be friends with this person. And he would tell me things about other people to tell me how they don't have my best interest at heart and how I shouldn't spend time with them. And so he was segregating me away from friends. And then the other thing he was doing is he would tell me how expensive it was for me to call my mom, because my mom was in England. And I went from calling my mom every week to every month to every 3 months. So he kept pushing everyone who cared about me away. So I didn't have friends. I didn't have family. I didn't even have a coworker I could trust and talk to. And if they start to say, oh, no, I don't really want to go out with your friends, let's just stay home. Mm-hmm. Once in a while, yeah, staying home and having a chill night, on the couch, watching Netflix is totally good. But it was like every time they don't want you to spend time with your friends, they just want you to stay home with them. That's a red flag. Because they're separating you from people who can help you.
That sound like they're just trying to isolate you from people. They don't want you to ever have nobody to say he's beating on me, or you have no friends. And then, unfortunately, you was the perfect victim because you was from a different country, and you had no family here, so you couldn't say, "Hey, I'm going to my cousins," And I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah.
The signs you shared is like it's crazy. That was somebody similar to that class that you shared. It makes you look at people differently when you're pursuing them or dating, and you're okay. Maybe this person's isolated me, or maybe this person want me to look a certain way for them. I need to pay attention to that. Or if I'm 5 minutes, 4 minutes late, and they're being dramatic, I need to pay attention to that, because that can be a red flag, and I can know in the future, oh, you tripped about me being 5 minutes late. I need to remember that. Like that's
And,
that's oh, it give me chills. Like it give me chill bumps. Like I'm sorry. I have a question for you. What is the best compliment you have ever received after sharing your story?
People, I just gave you like the really light stuff. When people hear some of the heavier and the darker stuff I went through, I get told I'm brave. I'm not brave. I'm just someone who managed to get through it from one day to the next. And I know everything's meant as a compliment, but this is the one thing I really want to share with you. Yes, it's a moment of bravery to leave, but it's not something that you have to psych yourself up so much to have that brave moment that it becomes overwhelming. It's one moment. And he used to say a lot of things about my looks, about how I looked. He'd call me ugly. No one would ever want me. Oh my gosh, look at you. You're disgusting. You're lucky you have me. And he ripped on my weight. He ripped on my my features. He told me all these horrible things about how I dressed, and constantly tell, well, you're lucky to have me because I I accept, well, we're going to try and make you a little bit better, but you're okay the way you are. And he'd do things like he'd have me go on crazy diets. Like one of the diets I remember, he called it the green bean diet. And he'd literally issue me 3 cans of green beans a day and tell me that was all I was allowed to eat for the day because I had to keep it under 300 calories so I lost weight. Yeah. I was issued my food within to a year of it, of what I was allowed to
What was
eat.
going through your mind? What was going through your mind when he? Let me repeat that question again because I feel like I was breaking up and I could tell I'm having technical difficulties today. I'm so sorry, you guys. This is not a normal thing for my roommates. Y'all know this. My question to you is, what was going through your mind when he was issuing you 3 cans of green beans a day?
He actually had me already feeling so fat and ugly that I was determined to do anything to lose the weight. And he was just doing it to look after me. And it's this mental mind. They mess with your head. They mess with your head so much that you believe them. And you stop arguing because, you know, and at this point, the hitting had become more often. And within about 3 months, it turned in from slaps into after this point. So this is like 6-7 months after the slapping incident. Then it started into punching. Then it started into kicking, hair pulling. He would kick me while I was on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
He fractured my ribs at one point from kicking me while wearing steel-toe boots. And it was like, behave or you'll get kicked. So you would put up with it to not have the punishment. And you see, because I just got my green card, I just got my visa, you know, everything to be here legally, like I'm completely legal here. But he'd tell me how he would tell the authorities that I was doing this all illegally and have me put in jail. And that people in American jails get killed. So I was lucky to put up with it with him because at least he wasn't killing me yet. Yeah. So he would be threatening me with that all the time.
American jails are different from y'all.
Yeah. And even though now I know that's completely false and not true at all. But in the time, he had me believing it, that I either had to put up with the beatings from him or get killed somewhere else. And he got worse and worse.
So my question, when did you have enough? Oh my God. I don't know why the internet's so bad today. This has never happened. This hasn't happened since 2020. My question to you is, when was it enough? When did you was like, oh, I had enough, I'm done, I am leaving today? Or when did you get the courage to finally walk away from that relationship? Because like I know I made a joke about 2020, but a lot of people didn't. We was quarantining, but can you imagine how many couples and how many people was their partner was beating on them, and the whole world is quarantining, and you have to be home with your partner, and you're going through a domestic violence situation? Like, when did you have enough?
I want to tell you it was the first time he tried to kill me, but it wasn't. He tried to suffocate me with a pillow because I told him no. And he told me it isn't rape if you're married. And because I had said yes to the marriage, I was no longer allowed to say no to him. And so at that point, he held a pillow over my face until I lost consciousness. It wasn't when he decided to slam my head repetitively into a concrete floor until I, again, lost consciousness. And when I finally came around, he looked at me and was like, oh, I thought you were dead. I still stayed after that. I stayed after he held a knife to my throat because I didn't feel like I had any choices. I stayed when he humiliated me in chat rooms online with webcams because I deserved it. And how I left is I was going to work and he was dropping me off. And I said something smart to him because at this point I just felt sure he was going to kill me. So I actually was sassing off to him, smarting off to him, everything. Because like if I can piss him off enough so he'd just kill me, at least it'd be over. I kind of wanted him to kill me at this point because I was in a living hell and I didn't see a way out. And he hit me and my assistant manager saw it and sat me down and said, okay, enough's enough. I've suspected this has been going on for way too long. I've seen how we're in Arizona, it's 120 degrees and you wear clothes up to your neck and down to your hands and you dress like you're in like 20-degree weather instead of 120-degree weather. And his boyfriend was police force, or rather sheriff.
You talking about your boss, right? Because the audio cut out.
No, my assistant manager, I was the store manager. I was the boss. And my assistant manager was the one that said, no, this is enough. And he got his boyfriend.
Are you still friends with him today?
No, we have drifted. It has been over a decade. He moved and moved and moved. And because of that, we drifted apart. But he arranged for him to be pulled over on a traffic violation. And it turned out he had a bench warrant. So he went to jail for the weekend. And on the Monday, I was actually about to go bail him out and beg for forgiveness. Because I felt so guilty about what I did. And I was hoping maybe if I could get him to forgive me, everything will be okay and he won't punish me. This is how afraid of this man I was. I was terrified of him. And I was at work and I was crying. And a customer came in and asked me what was wrong. And I was like, it's allergies, just allergies. I'm fine, blowing it off. And this is where everything I do is about blossoms. And that's where this whole cherry blossom thing comes in, is what this guy said to me. He was probably like in his 80s or 90s, this customer. And he was originally from Japan. He was an immigrant as well. And he made me go next door for coffee. And we sat down and I'm crying and I just finally just break down. And I tell him that I'm the broken one. I'm the one in the wrong. I'm the one that needs to fix things. Yeah. I'm taking full respect. Basically, it was my fault he hit me. It was my fault for everything. And he turned around to me and said, no, that I was cherry blossoms. And he tells me this story about how the cherry blossom tree, every winter, they die. The bark goes gray. They lose all their flowers. They look dried up, dead, no more life left in them. They look like they're done for. They look like they're gone. But what they're doing is they're digging their roots down deep to get nourished, to get secure, and to come back in the spring more beautiful than ever. And he says cherry blossoms are the tree that survive war, famine, cold, anything you can throw at them, they survive it. And he's like, this might be your winter, but your spring's going to come. You just have to dig down and let yourself be nourished through it. So I've kind of lived with that ever since. Is like, if things are going bad for you, just dig down and nourish yourself. Focus on how you can help yourself, how you can heal yourself, how you can grow yourself. Because if you do that, then your spring will come and it will be a better day. And that day I cashed out my 401k from work. I went and got a divorce lawyer. The divorce lawyer set it up so I had a protected address. So he didn't even know what address I'd moved to. Got me an order of protection, and he took the measurements from the order of protection and added 1 foot, and always stood 1 foot away from my work, further than the order of protection said, so I could still see him. I ended up having to leave my job I ended up going on disability because I couldn't function anymore. I was a complete nervous wreck. I was diagnosed with chronic post-traumatic stress syndrome. I was diagnosed with trauma and diagnosed with agoraphobia. I didn't even want to leave my house because he said in the courthouse when we were getting the divorce, the next time he saw me would be the last time I'd be seen breathing. So I ended up being terrified to leave my house.
The police didn't lock him up. He did an open threat in
No,
court.
he's got a nice little felony on him now. He went to, but the still thing was, I was still afraid of him because what if he got out? What if he escaped? What if all this? And for like 8-9 years after that, I was checking his whereabouts like religiously every week because I needed to know. But yeah, he went to jail after that one. But I was still like terrified. And it's like, I can't be in a room with I still can't be in a room with an alpha male on my own. I have to have someone there that protects me because I'm always afraid that any alpha male is going to turn into this horrible individual and do all these things because I don't trust them if they're too good to be true or not. It takes me a long time to trust men, especially because my experience was with a man. And
Wow.
it took me, 8 years before I managed to start leaving my house properly again. And that's when I was like, enough's enough. I need to tell my story because the biggest problem I had is I got given a trauma therapist after the court, because my divorce went through. Oh, and the funny thing is on my divorce, he tried to get me for alimony. Yeah, he tried to make me pay him to be divorced from him so I'd take care of him. That got thrown out pretty quick.
No.
Yeah. But I got a trauma therapist, and the one thing they kept telling to me, well, why did you stay? Why didn't you leave? And I keep telling people that's the wrong thing to say. It's just such a bad thing to say to people because you're making them think, well, yeah, if I'd left, they wouldn't have gone through this. So it was my fault. I stayed. It makes them think it was their fault for staying, not like, why didn't you leave? But instead of telling someone, well, why don't you leave? Let's get you out there. Say, hey, how can I support you? How can I help you? What do you need from me? I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. Because then what you're doing is you're not telling them it's their fault they're in it. You're telling them, hey, you have somebody here who's willing to help you. You tell me what you need and we'll make sure it happens, kind of thing. It's more supportive and not as traumatizing to people who've been in this. But I talk openly about it because people need to know that that's a bad question to ask, and that it's not like, oh my gosh, let's go on a date. Oh, I'm going to beat you up and then we'll have dessert and go home and get married. It's, we have this amazing relationship and a little glimmer of it comes through, then a little bit more, then a little bit more. And by the time they're full on how they are in themselves, you've already been conditioned mentally to just take it. And it messes with your brain so much.
So, Miss Karen, I have like 2 more questions to make it a little bit more lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know your current husband was the one? When did you know you was ready to get back out there and date, dealing with this trauma that came from your ex-husband?
It took me a long time. It took a really long time, and anyone who's around me has to know that I still have that trauma. You can't make loud noises behind me. You can't come up behind me. I can't have my neck touched because he choked me a lot. So I have a lot of trauma around touching my neck. And it was when someone respected all those different boundaries and never pushed me to do anything that I finally started to let my guard down. It's like, I can't even wear crew neck t-shirts. Everything has to be a V or a scoop neck, because anything too close to my throat just makes me feel like I'm being choked again. And so it was
so sorry you experienced all of that.
So it was having someone who was willing to say, you know what, I'm not going to push your boundaries that way. I'm going to let you take the lead on things like that. And I'm not going to try and jump up, behind you. It's like, I don't do surprise parties. I don't do any surprises. I don't do any of that anymore. Everything has to be thought out, methodical, set aside, planned, because surprises, they trigger me and make me panic. So it's having someone who's willing to listen and tell you it's okay, we'll take your time, and accept you for exactly who you are and where you are at.
All right. So this is my final question. What makes you feel inspired or like feel like your best self?
Helping other people. It's when I get to, because that was the one thing I was always told, is I was useless. So when I get to help other people, when I get to help them overcome something, when I help them feel stronger, more secure, when I help them feel like they can be the best version of themselves and can be 100% authentic and not have to fake anything, that's when I have this big smile on my face, because I know that I see everyone as beautiful and amazing and incredible individuals, and I want them to see that too. And if I can make someone else feel that way, just even for a second, something's good in the world. And that's what I live for, is that moment of just hope and happiness for everyone.
I love that. That answer alone, I hope that inspires someone. So, to my roommates, if somebody want to reach out to you, can we know what you do and leave us with some final words? Maybe a victim, or maybe somebody who's currently in a situation like yours, or probably worse. Like, what would you say to them, and how can people find you and reach you on social media?
So to find me, blossomtosuccess.com. All my socials are Blossom to Success or Karen Hewitt. I'm pretty easy to find. Just look for the crazy girl with pink hair. Can't really see because I got it in a ponytail right now. And for anyone who's in this situation, you are worthy. You're amazing. You are a beautiful person who deserves love and happiness and hope. And maybe you're not quite getting that right now. But there are people out there that are willing to take you by the hand and help you find that hope, that happiness, that joy. Be it a friend, a therapist, even a really friendly police officer that might just hear what you have to say about what's going on and be like, okay, now we're going to stop this. But there are people out there willing to help. It's when you're ready. And when you're ready, just reach a hand out and someone will take it and they will help you get there. Be friends with people. Be honest with yourself. And just above all, remember that you're worthy and you are capable of being loved. And you are capable of being special and amazing in your own right. And no one can tell you that other than yourself. You get to set that.
Thank you for those encouraging words. And I want to say to anybody who is a victim, please find your local hotline. This is a resource I found, the hotline.org, and reach out to a family friend, reach out to somebody, whoever you can reach out to, let them know, hey, I'm in domestic violence. And my advice to you, for me watching so many stories, don't tell the person that you're leaving. Do it when they're at work. Do it when they're going running their errands. Have your plan and leave. We lose too many women and men to domestic violence. I literally just seen something on TikTok today of this beautiful queen who husband killed her, and they had 3 kids together because he knew she wanted to leave him. So my advice to any person going through that is I'm sorry, bless me. Is planning. Sorry, y'all. God don't make it. I mean, devil don't make it out. Is plan it out. That's like and we had some more. Somebody said your story is very inspiring. I'm so sorry.
Bless
Your
you.
story is very inspiring. Thank you for sharing. These are some of the comments. I wanted to make sure I share them. Yeah, she is very inspiring, guys. And if you this episode was hard, I don't mind re-interviewing her. I'm so sorry. Sorry, y'all. Allergies are real. Crystal, you always bring around the best speaker for real. Thank you. You're welcome. Like, it is my goal to interview real people. Even if my show was to ever get really famous or go viral, if I interview celebrities, it'll be because I have to. But I'd rather interview real people. That just my thing. But once again, if anybody's going through a domestic violence situation, please reach out to your local resources and get out of that situation. Um, give yourself grace. Give yourself a timeline to get out. Tell somebody close to you. And if you're married, start moving money piece by piece, for they don't notice it. Like I'm telling you guys, I had a family member that was in a very bad situation. I had a friend, so it hits close home to me. I have not been in a domestic violence relationship. I have been in an emotional abusive relationship. That's as far as I would go. It was just emotional. I hope that makes sense to people that understand what an emotional abuse relationship is versus a domestic. I hope I'm gonna do an episode on that. Um, but luckily, I have never been in a domestic violence relationship. But here goes the truth, y'all. That is my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear is me falling in love with someone and thinking he's Mr. Everything. He's everything I want. He's perfect for my son. And then months down the line, he started beating my ass. That is my biggest fear. If I'm being honest, I'm always trying to be as honest as I can on my platform. That is my biggest fear is for me to fall in love and then end up being in what I call what this episode a fairy tale with a twist of domestic violence. Because like unfortunately you don't see the red flags you described in the beginning. I didn't even thought that was a red flag, and it's very like shocking to see that's how they think. I know what love bombing is because TikTok has taught me what love bombing is. TikTok be educating me on domestic violence. But Miss Karen, I hope you enjoyed your interview. I want to apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet because Monday you got story time. Monday we supposed to do this episode, y'all. Her email never came through. It came through after I was out with my mom. It never came through. Like that, like the internet has not wanted me to interview her, and I don't know why. And her story was inspiring, and I hope that if whoever is listening, get out. And if you need to reach out to her website was Blossom to Success. That's her social media. That's everything. And I hope this episode was great to everybody. Anybody have any questions in the audience that you guys want to ask her before I end this episode? Any questions? I know I have viewers, so if you guys want to ask a question, you can. Or if you just want to email her or DM her, you are welcome to. If you're shy and you don't want to comment, I understand. I try to be so respectful to other people. That's why when somebody's in a domestic violence relationship, like another story time, I met this girl. I was walking home. I had to been like 20, and she was trying to get away from her boyfriend. I never asked her why she haven't left him. I never asked that question. I just gave her some money, gave her my number. I said, when you're ready to leave, please call me. Now, I don't know what happened. I know she called me a couple days after that, and she said she went back. And I was like, she's not ready. She thought she was, but she wasn't. But I have had at least 2 family members that was in those type of situations. The question is for you. How was your day today, Miss Karen?
Oh, it was a good day today. Lots of things got done. I was really looking forward to our chat today. It's always a good day when I can share my story. And I'll say one of the most challenging things I've come across is I was asked, well, if you could go back in time and change it so this never happened, would you? And you would think everyone's answer would be, yes, of course, I'd never want to be beat. But my mom said something to me when she found out what happened, and it's what inspired me to tell my story. She says, well, maybe it was you because somebody else wouldn't have survived. So in a way, maybe I went through this because if he'd picked on another girl, maybe he would have killed her. And I survived it. And it did make me who I am today. And it does give me that passion to talk about it, to help other people realize what they may be going through might not be right. So if I could go back and change it, I wouldn't, because it has created who I am today, and it has made it so I can help other people. So I was really looking forward to telling my story with you today.
You just made my day. Like what your mama said, that in itself, I agree with her. If he would have picked another woman to endure what you endured, she probably would not have made it. Like, that's deep. Like, I have one more question. Oh my God, your mom just made me ask this question. Have you wrote a book?
I haven't. It's currently at my editor's. It's a very journalistic view where I've gone through all the details of what happened. The good, the bad, and the really ugly. I want people to realize that domestic violence just isn't, oh, well, I got hit. There was financial control. There was emotional control. There was food control. There was friends control. It's just so many different aspects of control that they exert over your life.
What's the name of the book?
It's going to be the title in progress is Positive Control, because I talk a lot about how the way they control your beginning seems very positive, very uplifting. Because if someone came into you in the first week and said, oh my God, you look so ugly in that outfit, you probably wouldn't go back to them for a second date.
You're right. I would not.
But if they came back to you and told you how beautiful you looked and how they really loved the dress that you wore on your first date, what's the chances you go, well, it's our 3-month date, I'm going to wear that dress again? You're more likely going to, because you're like, oh, he really liked that outfit. I'm going to put that outfit on again and put a big smile on his face.
Wow. Well, I cannot wait till you launch your book. You guys, this is my guest, and this topic today was a triggering topic, but it's much needed because this is the month that I'm going to talk about domestic violence and breast cancer awareness. Next week, I am talking about breast cancer awareness. I'm interviewing an author. She wrote a children's book to educate children on breast cancer, and I think that is a beautiful thing. And with that being stated, you guys, I'm your girl, Crystal J. And Karen, you can say your name.
My name is Karen Hewitt.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And you can catch this replay on YouTube or the Amazon app. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Crystal to the